So I've spent some time today watching Jamahal Hill's fights and Alex Pereira's fights. And although I've been picking Jamahal Hill to beat Alex Pereira throughout the entire build-up to UFC 300, upon rewatching their fights, I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my pick to Alex Pereira. Because there is a glaring weakness in Jamahal Hill's game. And that is, well, he is very open on the feet to a left hook. And I'm going to show you guys various moments from Jamahal Hill's career where he is wide open, sit in duck mode, ready to get hit by a left hook, and his opponents are not Alex Pereira. So I'm going to show you guys various clips of Jamahal Hill getting caught or almost getting caught or being open to getting caught. And then I'm going to dive into some of the other reasons why I think Alex Pereira is actually going to beat him at UFC 300 and knock him out. I'm changing my prediction. I think Jamahal Hill's power is a little bit overrated. I'm a little bit worried about the low kicks because, of course, he's coming off of an injury. But let's just get into this. Let me show you guys the opening, the weakness from Salty Mal Hill himself. The first thing that we're going to look at is Jamahal Hill's lead hand. I should say the lazy lead hand of Jamahal Hill, because he keeps it very low and he sometimes overswings, or I should say quite often he overswings and leaves himself wide open for counters. Now, this is from his fight against Thiago Santos. Big heavy hitter, a guy that throws big winging hooks, knockout artist, and Jamahal Hill has a crazy chin. But we all know the left hook of Alex Pereira is just a little bit different. So here's a perfect example. He's going to swing out a big left hook, and he follows up with left straight down the pipe. Santos is able to get out of the way of it. But, dude, look at his freaking lead side. Look at the chin, wide open. His lead hand by his hip. I'm telling you right now, this guy leaves himself open like that all the time. Okay? I'll show you another example from the same exchange where he actually gets caught by a big counter. Couple seconds later, Jamahal Hill is going to try to throw on Santos, and Santos is going to throw a flying knee. So Jamahal throws a straight left. Santos goes up looking for the knee. Jamahal Hill's winding up a big lead hook. But notice as soon as he lets this hook go, he's wide open for a nasty counter. Boom! Straight KO, bro. I'm telling you right now. If Alex Pereira has this picture in front of him, you're going nighty-night-night. You're going out, you're snoring, you're sleeping. And I could not believe how often this is the case. And I understand against Pereira, he may clean things up a little bit. He may be a little more tighty. He may have that lead hand glued every single time he lets it go for a big hook. He might just bring it back instantly. He might be sticking behind the 1-2s. But the point of me making this video is the 1-2s of Jamahal Hill are not as problematic, in my opinion, as the left hook of Alex Pereira, because I'm seeing more moments where Jamahal leaves himself super open to a left hook than I'm seeing moments where Alex Pereira is looking like he's in the worst possible position to be if someone lets go a 1-2. But let's get on to the next moment, another moment from the Santos fight. Round 4, this is the round where Jamahal Hill finishes Thiago Santos. They're going to start slugging, okay? And again, if you're new to the sport, you may not know it, but Thiago Santos, that's not a dude you just want to sit in the pocket with. Jamahal Hill did, and he played it off. He made it work. But my point is, he's dangerous as fuck. He's a KO artist. He's maybe top 3 ever in UFC history when it comes to KOs. He's got ridiculous power in his hands. He still doesn't have the left hook of Alex Pereira, but let me show you this other moment. So Jamal's going to let go a big straight on Santos. Down the pipe, Santos rolls with it. And he's going to follow up with that lead hook. But look at how open he is after he throws it, and look at what Santos is able to do to capitalize off of that. Look at that. Look at him, man. Imagine this is Alex Pereira. Jamahal Hill just overswung. He's got that lead hand glued to his hip, right? It's not coming back by his face. Got that lead hand glued to his hip. And Santos is going to tee off a big bomb. Gnarly shot on the chin of Jamahal Hill. Imagine that's Alex Pereira, okay? This is what I'm saying. I'm thinking of picking Pereira now when I'm looking at all these moments. I can show you moments from the Glover fight. I can show you moments from the Ovince St. Prude fight. But I'll keep showing you moments, is the point. Here's another moment from the Santos fight, round 2, a little bit earlier on, where Hill is going to throw a couple of combinations, but at the end of these combinations, he is so open to getting caught with a left hook. So Jamahal Hill throws the lead hook, Santos deflects it, and of course Hill's going to follow up with a straight left, and Santos is going to roll with it, but look at Jamal's hand, his lead hand, down by his hip. Alex Pereira with a longer reach with that wiry man's hook is going to be able to lean back and catch him with that nuclear option like he did to Strickland. Caught Strickland kind of leaning back, right? Was down and boom, came over to the top with a big one. All right? So I think that he can come over to the top with a big one. Couple of seconds later, there's 3 instances of this back-to-back-to-back. Couple of seconds later, this is the second one. Hill goes for a nice body shot. Nice jab down the middle. And Santos is going to capitalize off of this. He's going to clobber Hill with 2 big meaty hooks. The second one is going to be to that lead side. First meaty hook off the top of Hill's dome. And then he winds up that third. Boom. Right on the chin of Jamahal Hill. Pereira's not going to be back here. He's not going to be back here. Pereira's going to be right here. All right, he's going to be right here. Hill ducks his head. Boom! Straight out on the canvas. I'm telling you now, I could see it. Jamahal Hill's hand is by his hips. Couple of seconds later, okay, in the same freaking instance, they're going to start slugging again. Another moment where Jamahal Hill leaves his lead hand down. Santos tags Jamahal Hill with a nasty right hook. And you see what Jamahal Hill's loading up? He's loading up that lead hand. He's going to counter big. But again, look at where Santos is. Now imagine Thiago Santos has a little bit of a longer reach and an Eastern Island head. He's going nighty-night-night. Another moment from round 2 of the Santos fight. Jamahal Hill, classic, loads up on that lead hand and just swings everything into it, and he misses big. Alex Pereira might be able to pull back like Santos and crack him over the top with his lead hook and put him to sleep. It's going to be a battle of lead hooks, and I just see Jamahal Hill's lead hook is a bit of an issue. I think it's really a liability in this fight. And the guy that has the best left hook in all of combat sports is probably going to be able to take advantage of it if he's given these same opportunities as a guy like Santos, or as I'll show you in a minute, as a guy like Glover Teixeira. How about we look at Jamal's last fight against Glover Teixeira, where Teixeira actually makes him pay for this and lands a pretty good lead hook of his own, a left hook. So Hill's going to throw the right hand, and of course, like clockwork, it's going to be right down there at his hips after he fires it, and Teixeira makes him pay, okay? Now, again, these guys like Teixeira and Santos, they have pretty nasty hooks. Teixeira's got a pretty gnarly lead hook, but they're not Alex Pereira. 40% of the hooks that Alex Pereira lands drop his opponents. Like, I'm watching Yuri Prochazka fight Alex Pereira. He took 2 left hooks until the third one dropped him. The same thing is true about, I mean, you could say the same thing's true about Adesanya in the rematch, actually, but he only ate like 1 or 2 of them before he got the KO. The third one was going to drop him, though. And the point that I'm making is these guys aren't built to have the perfect answer to this issue, okay, to this hole in Jamahal Hill's game, to the chink in the armor. Pereira's whole style is perfect for capitalizing off of a weakness like this. Here's another moment from the Teixeira fight. Hill's going to throw a jab, and Teixeira's going to counter with an overhand, and Hill's going to leave himself just so open to get hit with the left hook. And you look at Glover Teixeira's face. Boom! To the Shadow Realm you go. All right? Now, I understand that not every hook that gets landed on him is going to put him in the Shadow Realm. But you cannot have this be a common chink in the armor that's shown time and time again in your most recent fights. Here's a moment from the OSP fight, and I believe this is a couple of seconds before the round ends. Hill is going to wind up with that lead hand this time. Look at Hill. He's going for that lead hand. He's throwing it like a baseball and just over swings. Look at this. Crashes into the air. Does not land anything. And OSP, crafty old OSP, cracks him back. Look at that. That's the I done fucked up moment, okay? And here comes that nasty lead hook of what will be Alex Pereira in the future. Bam! Right on the frickin' face. And you see, look at his facial. Dude, he was cracked by that. When Salty Mal Hill gives you a real expression like that, and he's not, again, most guys get hit with a big shot and they go poker face mode. That's a grimace right there. That's, oh shit, you just got me, grimace, man. That's a freaking grimace. I'm telling you right now, it might get bad for him. It might get bad for him. Again, one of the big reasons why I also changed my prediction, and this is less important, but it's something that does need to be brought up. I've been saying that I think that Jamahal Hill's going to crack Alex Pereira with the 1-2, and upon rewatching Alex Pereira's fights, I'm not seeing him get wobbled by 1-2s, and I'm not really seeing Jamahal Hill having the nasty KO power that everyone thinks he has. Okay, like, don't get me wrong. Of course, Pereira got cracked and wobbled against Adesanya in both of those fights. The second time, he got KO'd, of course. But he's been at 205 for 2 fights now. He's taken some pretty big bombs from Jan Blachowicz, although Jan Blachowicz in the second round and the third round, the rounds in which he was able to land some bombs, was exhausted. They were at altitude. And Yuri Prochazka, that's another guy where, in my opinion, I think Yuri Prochazka has a much better chance to get a KO with a 1-2 than Jamahal Hill. Okay, Yuri Prochazka has sent people to the Shadow Realm time and time again with his 1-2. Classic example being the fight that he had with Volkan Ozdemir. Literally sent Volkan Ozdemir flying. He turned him into the Flying Dutchman in that one. And Jamahal Hill, I'm seeing him land these nasty flush 1-2s over and over and over again, and I'm not seeing people drop like flies. And it's interesting to me because I know that it's light heavyweight, and I know that if you catch Alex Pereira on the chin flush, even though he's bulked up and his chin is better because he doesn't have the same weight cut, he does a little bit of a jitterbug, fair enough, but I've seen him eat shots. I've seen him eat flush shots now at 205, and I'm not as worried about his chin as I used to be now that we're, a good amount of time removed from the time he got KO'd by Adesanya. And again, when I watch Jamahal Hill fight, and I'm seeing him land tons of flush shots on Thiago Santos and not dropping them. I'm seeing him land the whole kitchen sink on Glover Teixeira and not dropping them. I'm seeing him land nothing but flush shots over and over and over again on OSP in the second round, when he knocked out OSP, couldn't drop him with a single one of those shots. It was a standing TKO. And I'm just going to say it like this. Okay, you knocked out No Chin Johnny Walker. Who hasn't? All right, you put T-Rex Arms Jimmy Crute to sleep. It's Jimmy Crute. All right? Who else is Jamahal Hill KOing? Santos? Because I just mentioned him. Fair enough. Santos had been wrestling hard and shooting non-stop takedowns for like 3 rounds before. It was a dogfight. Hill was winning, also leaving himself open time and time again. But the point that I'm making is, listen, Hill caught him with a flurry, a couple of knees, and Santos kind of flopped on the deck in part due to exhaustion, and he was breaking. It was more of a I'm breaking you moment KO rather than a big, powerful knockdown, torquing a big bomb on someone's chin. I'm tired of acting like Jamahal Hill's got this one-shot KO power. Where is it at? I don't see it. It could happen. Do not, for a second, think that I'm confident that Alex Pereira gets this KO and I'm totally doubting Jamahal Hill's chances to get it. I'm just saying, more often than not, when Jamahal Hill lands his 1-2, when Jamahal Hill lands the big meaty hook, the nasty uppercut, the flush head kick, it's not dropping his opponents. At a certain point, I have to say, is he even top 5 heaviest hitters in his own division? Okay? Like, I still think he can win. I think that Alex Pereira has a bunch of openings. I'm just saying I'm less confident in Jamahal Hill's ability to drop Pereira than I am for Pereira's ability to drop Hill. Pereira consistently hurts his opponents. In the Yuri Prohaska fight, the first left hook he landed clean, where Yuri's got his hand by his hip. He gets dropped, and I don't think that was a good stoppage. I think it was an early stoppage. I think maybe Yuri still may have won the fight. I think he could have gone on to winning the fight, but he didn't. But listen, he's sleeping dudes. He slept Strickland, okay? He's been sleeping people in glory. Yeah, he didn't knock out Jan Blachowicz, but Blachowicz has his hands glued to his chin. And he's got that old crafty man's mindset. Or he's got that ugly style, but it's working, and it's clean, and it's technical. It's ugly. And Jamahal Hill has, people talk about Jamahal Hill like he's got all this finesse, and I'm not necessarily seeing it. Like, don't get me wrong. Hill's got some really slick head kicks. Hill's got some really nasty uppercuts. Hill's going in there with enough salt to fill a salt mine. Okay, he's got a chip on his shoulder, and I could see him rocking Alex Pereira. He's got tons of confidence going into this. But again, in my mind was this beautiful, clean 1-2 down the middle, right? Like, who has a really clean 1-2 in MMA? Just think of the cleanest 1-2 down the pipe. I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing more sloppy Jamahal Hill moments where he's overextending and he's got his chin. He's out here slugging. And I don't think he's got the power to back himself up in a gunfight with Alex Pereira. I just don't think so. Especially when he's leaving himself open. There's more moments where Hill leaves himself open than Alex Pereira. I'm also worried about his leg injury. What was it? The Achilles that he tore? And he's been out of the cage for over a year. I mean, what are the low kicks going to do to him? And people might be saying Jamahal Hill is a southpaw and Pereira is not able to kick southpaws. That's bullshit, okay? He was kicking Izzy just fine in the rematch when Izzy was fighting a majority southpaw. He was landing kicks. Yes, they were a little bit less powerful, but he was landing them, okay? He will be able to kick the legs of Jamahal Hill, and Jamahal Hill never checks low kicks. I mean, there's literally a statistic out there where I think like 59 of the low kicks that have been thrown on Jamahal Hill, out of the 59 or 60 of them, like 56 have landed clean. He doesn't really check them. So he's going in there after a whole year-long layoff, even more than that. It's been more than a year since he's last fought. And he's coming off of this Achilles tear, and he's going in there against the best leg kicker in the upper weight classes, and he's going to try to knock him out. And I think he's going to leave himself open doing so. I think Pereira's going to chip away at the base. I think he's going to really slow down the movement of Jamahal Hill, who already kind of waddles into range, right? I talk about people being plotty. Jamahal Hill's not plotty. He kind of waddles around like a duck, though. All right? I think Pereira's going to be chipping him away, and he's waddling forward like a duck. All right? And I think eventually he's going to walk him onto a left hook. And I think that there's a little bit of an ego battle between these guys, but I think that if anyone wins the ego battle, it's probably going to be Pereira, because the thing is, I think he's a little bit more comfortable in where he's at in his career. I think Jamahal Hill has a lot to prove. I think he's got a chip on his shoulder, and I think that that's good. But I could see him being a little bit more emotionally charged going into this because everyone's doubting him, and how the hell can you possibly think you're going to stand with Alex Pereira? How dare you even think that? Although I think he could knock out Pereira. I think that his kicks are nasty. I think his volume's really good. I think he's got a great chin. I think that, again, although Pereira hasn't just been getting dropped left and right, and he's kind of proving that up a weight class, his chin is better, he does every now and then do a jitterbug dance. despite him doing a little bit of a jitterbug and backing up with his eyes closed and looking kind of awkward sometimes, I'm not that worried that a guy with Jamahal Hill's power, who doesn't have the craziest power in the world, in my opinion, again, like, he's standing TKO'd OSP after landing the kitchen sink on him. He was head kicking Glover Teixeira flush, and I understand that Glover Teixeira towards the end of his career was just kind of built different. I don't know how Yuri or Jamal couldn't put him away, but they couldn't. I think Yuri hits harder than Jamahal Hill. If I'm watching Yuri Prochazka's highlight reel, it's a lot gnarlier, in my opinion. Okay, he's sending people to the shadow realm. Jamahal Hill's knocking dudes out, and they're getting right back up, and they're dazed, and they're exhausted, but not all of them are going to sleep. All right? And he's not really sending guys back. He's not really dunking guys on their asses. So I just think he's a little bit too sloppy. I think he's going to leave himself open. I think the kicks are going to be a big issue for him. And I think that Alex Pereira is proven at this point in the light heavyweight division that he's not too small. He's had a lot of time as well since his last fight with Yuri Prochazka, and he's just growing into that new 205 frame. When he fought Jan Blachowicz, he was looking a little bit fat, right? Now he's getting leaner. The weight cut is becoming a little bit more difficult, I would imagine, which just means he's going to be a more natural, leaner 205er. I think he's going to win this fight. I think he's going to knock Jamahal Hill out. Maybe I'll do another breakdown for this fight, as I do see some openings on Alex Pereira, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. Until next time.